Here are the selections for Sunday, December the 26th, with some special holiday selections from opening day at Santa Anita. On Thursday, December the 23rd, we only had one winner, short price favorite, so we'll just put that day behind us and move ahead. In the first race, Maiden Claimer, I'll pass the race. The second race is a Claiming Non-Winners 2 Lifetime. I'll also pass that race. My first investment on this last day of our handicapping challenge is in the thirst. It's a Maiden Claimer going 7 furlongs. My selection is Oriental Queen. Oriental Queen may offer some value in spite of several key angles going in her favor. First of all, she has one of the most powerful angles, and that is dropping out of Maiden Special Weight Company. Also, one of the second most powerful angles is the fact that she has early speed and a class drop. Combine that with the drop out of Maiden Special Weight, you've got a powerful angle. On top of that, in her last race, she ran against Evil Queen. Evil Queen, if you remember, on Wednesday, came out of her maiden win, this race, and beat Allowance Company when just up in time to pay over $21 as my selection as an upset of the day on Wednesday. And finally, you got to wonder why top rider Manny Cruz sticks with Oriental Queen when she was beaten 25 lengths in her last. I think the reason he sticks is for all the aforementioned key angles, and so my selection in the third is Oriental Queen. In the fourth race, it's a claiming race going 8 furlongs. It's scheduled to go on the turf. However, weather predictions say there's going to be a cold front and lots of rain on Sunday, so we're going to look for a horse that can run on either turf or dirt, and that horse would be Prime Precision. Prime Precision has been entered in 12 straight turf races, and her last 4 races on the turf have all earned her solid speed ratings. I think the bettors would be taken off by the fact that her last buyer rating was a 62, was not nearly in line, but if you look at the Daily Racing Form speed ratings, it was just the same as her others. So I tossed that buyer rating. On the turf, I think she's solid. In fact, I think she's a better bet on the turf. But if it comes off the turf, based upon the fact that she's run 8 good races on the offgoing, I will stick with her as an investment. So it's Prime Precision in the fourth. I'll pass the fifth. The sixth is the Maiden Special Weight going 5.5 furlong. She's So Cool was the 9-5 favorite at Churchill Downs in her debut. She didn't show a lot, a little bit of early speed, and was an even fourth. She ships down to Calder, which is kind of a hidden class drop. I think the caliber of horses is a little bit better at Churchill Downs. So She's So Cool in the sixth. In the seventh, I like Lucky Irish Day. It's a non-winners of 2 Lifetime, scheduled to go on the turf. And Lucky Irish Day would be a double investment, but only on the turf. Her best 2 races were her 2 turf races, where she nearly paired up by her speed ratings, 77 and 76. And the last, the 77, came when she was coming off of a 5 furlong turf sprint. Lucky's last race, a 5 furlong turf sprint. She's set for today. If we happen to be on the turf, the investment in the 7th, Lucky Irish Day. In the 8th race is an allowance going 6 furlongs, and it's a money added allowance. And usually you look for a horse that's got stakes caliber quality in their running lines, who's run in stakes races. But this race, in 7 of the 8 entries in here, all want the front end, and almost all of them have run sub-22 fractions for the first quarter. So I think this race is just begging out for a stalker and a finisher. That horse is my investment, Royal Tricon, who has the rail. Royal Tricon comes off his best buyer speed rating of his life, and he sits just off the pace. I think he works out a good trip, rides the rail into the turn, moves 3 or 4 wide, splits horses, pulls way through the stretch. I'll double the investment on Royal Tricon in the 8th. In the 9th, 5.5 furlongs, allowance optional claimers. My selection is Bid'em. Again, this is a stakes quality field, and I think, again, you're looking for someone who's going to come from off the pace. Bid'em will probably not be picked by most handicappers, as he comes off a 1-mile race where he was on the board, but this is a 5 furlong sprint race, usually takes much quicker fractions. However, if you look through the field, you'll see that the field in total has only won 6 races at the distance. 3 of those races have been won by Bid'em. Bid'em's last 2 workouts, 2 back, best of 32 bullet, and his last 5th of 51 at the distance. Obviously, he's been sharpening his speed. I think he looks solid in here against a lot of front runners, just like in the 8th race. So in the 9th, I'll double the investment on Bid'em. The 10th and final race on Sunday is a Maiden Claimer scheduled to go 8 furlongs on the turf. I'm going with Slick Vic, especially if this comes off the turf. Slick Vic is in the 2-hole. Slick Vic is a front runner. Slick Vic has the best early speed, and Slick Vic is bred to love the off-going. I think Slick Vic pulls off an early lead into the turn, sits a nice comfortable trip on the front end and draws off comfortably through the stretch in the finale. So I'll double the investment on Slick Vic if it's off the turf. If for some reason it happens to stay on the turf, my selection would be Raging Sea. And now for some special holiday picks from Santa Anita on opening day. Opening day at Santa Anita on the new dirt track surface features 4 stakes races, 1 a state bred stakes race, and then 3 graded stakes. I have selections in all 4. In the 5th race, the California Breeders' Champion Stakes, at 7 furlongs on the main track, I like Gab Power. I'll double the investment on Gab Power. Gab Power comes out of the Grade 3 Generous, which was run at a mile on the turf, and was right there on the pace against the Grade 1 winner, Comma to the Top. He actually gained lengths through the stretch on Comma to the Top, even though he faded to 4th. I think that sets him up nicely for a turn back to 7 furlongs in the main track. I'll go with Gab Power in the 5th. The 6th is the Grade 1 La Brea Stakes. This is a Grade 1 7 furlong sprint for fillies and mares, limited to 3-year-olds. My selection here is Switch. Switch is my pick in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. She came running late to be a good second. I think she does the same thing here. I think there's some other speed to set up Champagne d'Oro, who probably will gun to the lead. Champagne d'Oro has run well on dirt, so Switch, but I think Champagne d'Oro is compromised today. I think Switch rolls to the win today. I'll triple the investment on Switch. In the 7th at Santa Anita is my bet of the day. It's the return of Sydney's Candy. Sydney's Candy was ultra impressive his first time on the turf in the Grade 2 La Jolla this summer, and off of that I thought he had a real solid chance to win the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile, which would set him up for a real run at the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Mile. However, at the Shoemaker Mile he was withdrawn on race day as there were rumors about an impending sale. That sale never came through. He missed the race. I think he missed an opportunity to get his first Grade 1 race. And he also, I think, missed out on an opportunity to be better fit for the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Mile. In spite of that, he set the pace to mid-stretch before being overtaken by the Supermare Goldakova and finished within 3 lengths of that Supermare. Off of that, he comes back home to California. He drops down into a Grade 2. I think Sydney's Candy is much, much the best today. So I'll take Sydney's Candy, 30 to win on the 7th at Santa Anita, the Grade 2 Sir Beaufort Stakes. And finally, the 8th race is the Grade 1 Malibu Stakes. It sees the return of another Candy Ride horse, and that is Twirling Candy. Twirling Candy was unbeaten in his first 4 starts, and he was being talked about seriously as a challenger for the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Classic. That's high praise for such a lightly raced 3-year-old. Well, when he was put into the Grade 1 Underwood, he made a big move on the turn, looked to be much the best, and on his way to the Breeders' Cup Classic, but it was a premature move and he faded through the stretch. Since then, he's come back with several good works, looks to be in fine shape, and I think at 7 furlongs, this hits him right between the eyes as his best distance. The last time, interestingly, that he won a 1-turn race against 3-year-olds, it was an impressive win. So I'll take Twirling Candy, $15 to win on the 8th at Santa Anita. We'll come back tomorrow, see how we did on the last card that we'll be having as our handicapping challenge, how we did at Santa Anita, and we'll take a look at the final numbers between Mike Welsh and I in our handicapping challenge.